Hey everyone, welcome back to another Skyrim modding video where we take a look at some of the best new mods released over the past month. First up are 3 mods inspired by the spells from the new Baldurs Gate game. The first of these abilities is called Heaven's Smite, which allows you to empower your weapon and perform a small animation and then jump to your enemy and cast a small blast of energy. The power does initial damage and then also causes damage over time for a few seconds. It's a cool and strong ability that allows you to take control of the battlefield and would suit a paladin type character very well. In terms of balance, the smite power can only be used when wielding a melee weapon, so only works with warrior type characters. And it also costs 30 magicka to cast, which does balance it a small amount, but is overall just a fun spell to use. The second one is called Eldritch Blast, which releases a beam of magic at one of your enemies. There is also a little bit of force behind the power that will push your enemy back. On top of that, the power comes in 3 different tiers based on your character level. From level 1, there will only be 1 beam of magic. From level 10, this will double to 2 beams of magic, and once you hit level 20, the Eldritch Blast will release 3 beams of magic, each time increasing the amount of damage dealt. Unlike the smite power, however, there is no magicka cost or cooldown, so in terms of balance, while it does require a melee weapon, it is very strong to use. And the last power is called Frenzy and Enraged Throw. Similar to the orc racial power, Berserker Rage, this power will send your character into a frenzy that doubles your damage output and halves the amount of damage you take for 2 minutes. On top of that, when in a frenzy, if you use the power again, you will throw your weapon in a straight line in front of you. Again, there is no cooldown for this power, so you can effectively stay in frenzy mode indefinitely, which is extremely powerful. However, it doesn't affect magic, and also when entering frenzy mode, there will be a small animation that may leave you slightly vulnerable. Otherwise, it's just some fun to use and go crazy, allowing you to run in and take on multiple enemies at once. Overall, all 3 powers are strong and maybe a little imbalanced, but provide some unique combat experiences. Then we have the new armor mod called the Hinterland Ranger, which is a gorgeous set of armor featuring a long leather chest piece with gloves and boots. The outfit comes in 2 different light armor sets and 2 sets of robes, with my personal favourite being the brown leather version with gold trimmings. The set is also compatible with both male and female characters, has SMP physics applied, and can be crafted easily under the leather category. For me, this armor looks fantastic and fits well within the art style of the game, as well as being lore friendly. It also matches well with a lot of different archetypes, and I could see it suiting a warrior, ranger, or even a mage type character. Overall, it's an armor mod you don't want to miss. Next is the new shield retexture mod called ElSopa Shields Redone Part 1, which replaces the original Skyrim shields with beautiful new models. While some are just retextures, others are a complete reimagining of the shield itself, but still stay true to the original art direction and style. A great example is the dragon plate shield, which is now the skull of a dragon. A pretty big shift from the original, but one that doesn't feel out of place in Skyrim. This is also part 1 and only covers about half of the original shields, so expect another part to finish off all the others as well. ElSopa always does a fantastic job, and this mod is no different, so do yourself a favour and check this one out. Next is a mod called Diverse Archery Targets, which adds a lot of diversity and quality to the archery targets found around Skyrim. In vanilla Skyrim, the targets are all the same, no matter what region you visit, but now with this mod, you can come across a variety of different types of targets on your adventures across Skyrim. On top of that, the mod also features a version that adds more targets in certain areas, providing a little more challenge to test your archery skills against. The only slight downside is the number of requirements needed, so make sure you first have all the requirements and in the correct load order before installing this mod. Speaking of variety, this next mod, called Giants Overhaul by Mihail, adds more variety to the type of giants you can encounter around the world. Again, in vanilla Skyrim, there was only one type of giant with the exact same appearance, making each encounter feel very repetitive. But with this mod, you will now see a much larger variety of giants, including some smaller juvenile ones and female giants. This adds a small touch of immersion to your game, as well as making each giant encounter a little more unique and may add a few surprises on your adventure. Definitely check this one out if you're tired of seeing the same giant over and over again. Next, we have the mod called Madmen, a Forsworn Overhaul. The same author who made Lawless the Bandit Overhaul has now turned their attention to the Forsworn, adjusting the stats and balancing of each type of Forsworn enemy that you can encounter. The overall level cap has also been increased, where in vanilla Skyrim, the Forsworn, similar to other enemies, would cap at level 34, meaning you could outlevel them in a long playthrough fairly easily. But with this mod, the Forsworn can level all the way up to level 50 alongside you, the player. This mod also adds more variety to the enemies, with more archetypes to encounter, and provides access to more diverse spells and perks. This includes other enemies such as the Hargravens and Witches, which only had 1 or 2 variants in the original game, including a Hargraven Monarch which will level right up to level 60. This has all been done in a lore-friendly manner, and although it does make the Forsworn a more challenging enemy, it also makes them more interesting to fight and less repetitive. Boss enemies, known as Briarhearts, also get a substantial buff to become much more formidable and can level with the player up to level 55. Overall, it's a great and challenging addition to your game. Then we have the mod known as LockBash NG, which allows you to break locks open instead of lockpicking them. Now there is a wee bit of math behind the way it works, but very simply, each lock has a strength number essentially ranging from a novice lock being low or weak, and a master lock being very strong. To be able to break the lock open, your character needs to have enough power, which is determined by your health, stamina, type of weapon you're wielding, and whether you perform a normal or power attack. For example, a one-handed weapon is weaker than a two-handed weapon, and so on. While I can see the argument that this is a little imbalanced, I also think it makes sense that a warrior class could smash open some lock containers or bash their way through a door. The system also relies on your character having substantial health and stamina, especially for the stronger locks, so characters who focus on magicka won't be able to take advantage of this feature. For example, my character is not powerful enough to break this master lock open, even when wielding a two-handed axe. Overall, it's a nice small feature that also adds a touch of immersion. And lastly is the tree mod called GIRTH, or Gildergreen is really thick HD, which will overhaul the Gildergreen tree at the heart of Whiterun City. You may have guessed, but this tree is very thick and looks stunning in game, providing a beautiful centerpiece for the city of Whiterun. Just a simple mod that overhauls an iconic area of the game. And that's it for this video of some amazing new mods in Skyrim. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you again next time. Cheers.